liquids, laptops. So I have to use this, right? Alan, stop it, please. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being here on time, almost. And I hope you all enjoy. So I have a question for you guys. How do you want me to proceed? Because I have like half an hour, and I have 3 different ways I can take. One is a talk called A Creatively Blunt Talk About Life, Photography, and My Mother. Option 2 is all about the Guardians, so all your questions and anecdotes about the Guardians. And the third one is freestyle. You just talk about
Your mother. Freestyle.
Oh shit, okay. So if you're easily offended, please leave. If you're not, stay. Thank you. If I see someone misbehaving, I will encourage them. If I see someone sleeping, I will use this. And want to be my reader. Who wants to be my reader? Alan?
Not going to be here long
You have someone here in the back. I'll be your reader.
We can all read.
Okay, but like no, because it's better when you have like someone talking. With my English is like not that good. So if I read that, you'll be like, what did he say? You know? So I just want to talk about chance and coincidence. Chance? Definition, please.
The occurrence and development of events in the absence of any obvious design.
I stressed obvious. Coincidence?
A remarkable concurrence of events of circumstances without apparent casual connection.
Without apparent. I stressed it. So, I left Paris for Montreal 13 years ago. Oh, no, 16 years ago now. And I left because I come from a Lebanese family, and very nice family, very caring. I had a very amazing childhood. Whenever I wanted to go to the movies, I could go to the movies. They flew the war, the Lebanese war. I was born in Saudi Arabia, like you read, but I grew up in Paris when I was 2. I grew up in Paris when I was 2. And at some point when I wanted to become an artist, they told me, no, it's not a real job. You have to do something else. So I'm stubborn, and I knew I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to direct movies. So I decided to leave everything behind, my parents, my friends, and my culture, my lifestyle, to go to a new city. It was Montreal. I moved there, and it took me maybe 4.5, 5 years to start making friends. People who know me find it strange when I tell them that, but it's true. At first, like the cultural differences are too big, you know, and you make friends, but it's on the surface. It's like very polite, but it's not deep. Opposite to Europe, when in Europe you meet someone, because you share the same cultural background, you can immediately become true friends with those people. So it took me 5 years to start by growing a network, and I had a girlfriend there back then. And she was a graphic designer, and she took me to a conference, and I met this guy, Metz. His name is Frédéric Metz. Everyone calls him Metz. And the second I heard the guy, I said out loud to myself and out loud, I said, who the hell is this asshole? I was like, I couldn't believe what he was saying. I was like, who the hell is he thinking he is? You know what I mean? And I couldn't believe my ears. And this was the first time I met Metz. I'm telling you about him because he's a very important character of my story tonight. He was the head of the design department in the Université of Québec in Montreal. And people were scared of him. because he either glorified you or destroyed you if he didn't like your work. He is a character. So in 2008, I decided to become an artist and to live of my art, but I didn't want to start it by myself. So I decided to create this kind of collective. That's why there's an S, agitators, and I started to curate my talents. So every time I saw someone with talents or like with a special flavor, I would go talk to them and tell them that I wanted to work with them. I wanted to even get some corporate jobs that we could like work on together. So I created a team. It was like some kind of label and quality label. So when clients trusted me with a job, I would compose a team of talents, composed of web designer, of graphic designer, photographers, videographers. I was myself a photographer, but I was not comfortable shooting nightlife. So I had someone to do that. So I would give him my gigs. Instead of taking the whole the money, I would send this guy to do it because I wanted to give quality to my clients. And everyone called me crazy back then. They were like, what you're doing is crazy. It's like it goes against like what everyone else is doing. I'm like, yeah, fine, it's great. So we did that. But before I start like before it started to become a label, I had no clue where I was going, so I just needed to sell myself. So I called my ex-girlfriend, the one who was living in Montreal. She moved to Switzerland, and I asked her, can you be kind enough to design a business card for me? I don't have time to do that. So I started looking at my options. I was like, I'm going to do it myself. So a few days before, I was at an event and with my new friends that I made 6 months before. And I saw this picture of me and one of the girls, Miché, and I liked it. And the second before we took the photo, I just stole the glasses from my friend who took the photo and I put it on my face. And I took this picture and I liked it. So I said, okay, why not use this photo on my card with my number on it? So I came up with this, with a website that didn't exist yet, and my mail. And I went to the print shop the same day, and the guy told me, we're closing in 45 minutes, how can I help you? And I said, I just need a few cards. I'm going to this design event tonight, and I need a few cards just to network. So he printed the card, we had to cut it ourselves, and we went to the event. And who did I see at the event? Metz. So I went to Metz, and I'm like, what do you think of my business card? He liked it. I said, okay, do you mind taking a photo with it so I can show it to Olivia to tell her I don't need her anymore to help me with design, you know? I'm a designer now. So he took a photo with it, and within 20 minutes, all the fashion designers of Quebec took a photo with it as well. So I took their portrait. And then we went to a party, and the cool kids of Montreal took a photo of it with the card as well. And there was Macy Gray. I don't know if you're familiar with Macy Gray. She's a singer, and she was DJing at the event. So I went to see her, and she said, okay, and she took a photo with it. So, so the next morning was the first day of the 3-day weekend for the Grand Prix, the Montreal Grand Prix. So all the streets were closed, people were walking the street, barbecues, music, like great time to be in Montreal. And I was walking with my card around the neck. And some cool kids would stop me on the street and tell me, my friend has a photo with it. What is it? I saw it on Facebook. I'm like, you want one? Yeah, sure. So I took about 60, 70 photos that weekend of people holding my card in a funny way. And it's just like a sample of those kids. And some people would call me, can I come over, take a photo? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like they would come up with crazy ideas. I should take a photo with my card. I'm like, do you know this is my face on the card? There's nothing special about it, you know? So this is how I started in Montreal. You know, I started like meeting people like because of this idea. Because the greatest thing that happened to me, like I said before, came from a no. Someone refused to help me, and I decided to help myself and make this happen. I had no idea. I had no plan. I just like went with it. So. On the Monday, so 4 days later, this happened. My Facebook was flooded with profile photos of people holding my card. It was pretty overwhelming when I saw that. After less than 2 weeks, I was sitting on a terrace for summer, June, end of June, with friends, and this guy comes to me and he insists for me to follow him to this club, and I'm like, I don't like clubs, I don't want to go to a club. He's like, no, there's a great showcase, musical showcase, you should come. I'm like, I don't listen to the radio, I don't watch TV, I listen to Leonard Cohen, I listen to old school music, I don't listen, I don't go to. He insisted. I left my friends, I went with him. So there was this woman standing on stage, I took some photos, and then he grabs me, he throws me in the staircase, and he's like, go downstairs. Okay, so I go downstairs in the basement, like very scary basement, and I see this lady with her DJ friend, and I have nothing to tell them, except like nice show, you know? So I start asking if I can take photos of them with my card. They say, okay, so we take photos for 15, 20 minutes, I thank them and I leave. The next day, or like a couple of days later, like people start messaging me, how did you do that? And I do what? How did you get Lady Gaga to pose for you? I'm like, I have no idea. I had no idea who she was, you know? And yeah, and then it became a thing. So I start getting a lot of celebrities playing the game. So this is Kevin Smith, John Water, Lenny Golding, Mark Hamill from Star Wars, Jimmy Fallon, Juliette Binoche, Gaga, Christopher Lloyd, Iggy Pop, the coolest guy, who's deaf. I'm going fast, okay, because so yeah. So this is basically what happened. If somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you are not sure if you can do it, say yes, and then learn to do it later, you know? That's what I did. Because clients came to me and asked me, what do you do exactly? And instead of saying, I'm a photographer, I said, how can I help you? And they were like, well, I'm launching a product, I need product shots. Do you do that? I don't do that. I shoot people. I was like, of course I do that. But why do you want? So I would complicate it even more. I was like, but why do you want to do a back shot? Why don't you do 3D rendering? He was like, what's 3D rendering? Do you do that? I would be like, why would I mention it if I don't do it? I didn't do it. I didn't know how to do it. So I would give him an appointment a week later, find the best guy to do it, and I would get the contract and make it happen. So this is how the label started, out of this creative project. So I worked with everyone, L'Oréal, Bombardier, Just for Laughs Festival, because they trusted my instinct, they trusted my ability to build a team of creative people. And sometimes I would book a guy who was like 18 or 19 still in school. And I would tell my clients, he will not attend meetings on Thursday because on Thursday he has class. He cannot be here. And I said that to Parks Canada, by the way, so to the government. We had like a huge contract that I won, and we did an animated movie that's still playing in the museum in Ontario. And I told David will never attend the meeting on Thursday. He's in school. And they listen to you. So what I'm trying to tell you now is, if you believe in yourself, make people believe in you. Like, you know, don't be like, yeah, I can do it. No, just even if you're not 100% confident, show that you are 1,000% confident in what you're doing. Because you will attract people who will want to work with you and who will like teach you stuff, and you will teach them stuff as well. That's what happened here. Now when I go see a huge celebrity, I'm not afraid. I just go and I say, Iggy Pop did it, you don't want to do it? They're like, oh yeah, I want to do it. And no matter who, they say yes now. Iggy Pop said yes. Spike Lee said yes. The only one who said no is Owen Wilson. So this became a fun project that I did on the streets as well. So yeah, go back to the chance and coincidence thing.
You want me to read this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Everything is connected like a delicate web, ever growing, ever changing. The connection is unbreakable, lying dormant in your subconscious.
So, it's true, everything is connected. But in order to see the connection, you need to move your ass. You have to do something about it. You need to be always in movement. You always have to be curious. You always have to talk to people. You always have to be interested in other people's story, not just your story. So when you tell a story, either being a sculptor, a writer, a photographer, a painter, no matter what you do, be interested in what other people do. And ask questions. Why I'm saying that? Because when I started Artistic Agitators in 2008, I followed my gut. I said, you know what, I'm not going to wait for someone to help me, I'm going to create my own luck, I'm going to do it. And it was scary, I had rent to pay, I had no income, I had nothing. And within a month and a half, I decided to go to New York City. Because I had a friend from high school visiting, I decided just to go and spend some time with her. And by doing so, I met someone in New York. I met this guy. This is the thing I wrote the day I met him. You cannot say, but I said I just met the coolest New York City guys in the Starbucks, blah, blah, blah. And this guy is the most popular YouTube sensation like ever. He's the most creative person ever. And people now, like, to get access to this guy, they would give a kidney. And I just went to New York to see a friend and ended up in a Starbucks and met his brother. He took us to the studio and we ended up becoming friends. And what I'm trying to say is there's a reason why you meet people. So if you're not feeling well, if you're questioning your work, if you're questioning your ability, if you're questioning your creativity, just go outside and talk to people. You know, like, you can pause. I'm not always creating, but I'm always thinking. And I'm always talking to people. She can confirm, my girlfriend, she's there. I'm always like, if I take a 10-minute walk, it's going to take me 35 minutes. Because, mom. So my mom. I'm mom. So my mom is a typical Lebanese mother. She's always very protective. She would always read the letters of my girlfriend. When I was a teenager, my girlfriend would live abroad, so she would send me letters. My mom would open the letters, read everything. She wanted to know everything before it happened. Like, she would always control me. She would go talk to my teachers. She would like ask them to remove those ideas of me being an artist, etc., etc., etc. She was, that's my dad, always laughing. And that's that. So why am I talking about my mother? This is during the honeymoon in 1978, June 1978. I was born in May 1980. The photo of my card was created in June 2008, so 30 years later. When my mom passed away in late October 2010, I had to fly to Beirut. But before that, like, we had to take her from Paris to Beirut. And so I flew from Montreal. I went to see her. She was already dead. And the second I arrived, I get out of the car to go see her. There's a ladybug that lands on my arm. And the ladybug won't leave. So I go to the hospital. I see my mom. My dad is there with my uncles, aunts, friends, etc. Even a friend of my dad, Alain, who came from the south of France. Everyone is here. And I pay my respect. We take my mom to Lebanon. I spent some time with my dad, and then at some point I asked him if I can see photos of them when they were younger. So he gave me a box of photos, I start scanning them. And I scanned those photos, and I post them on Facebook. And a friend of mine messaged me, and she's like, that's us. And I see this photo. And my friend notices that she's wearing the same type of glasses, and she's holding a Polaroid. And my card is shaped as a Polaroid. And everything is connected, you just have to look. And I never saw this photo before that. And my mom never supported me as an artist. And I'm like, what does that mean? Am I gonna go and try to find out, or am I just like gonna accept it? So I said, you know what, just accept it for now. It's a great coincidence, but let's see how it goes. And the second I discovered that, every time I had an important moment in my life, or it was connected to my mom, I would see a ladybug somewhere. And I'm not kidding. I would buy an old vintage TV, I would open it, there was a ladybug in it. I would buy a mug, I would take the train to my cousin's wedding, there was a ladybug inside the train. And I'm going to come back to this. Oh wait, okay. So, this is very brief. The loss of people we love is just one sentence. To me, when you're born, your parents, your grandparents, your relatives who already exist are like video cameras, surveillance cameras, who record every moment of a newborn's life in their head, you know, till you grow up and you make your own memories. So when you lose someone that you care about, especially your parents, one of the major hard drives disappears with all the memories. So to me, the mourning is in some kind of way a very selfish act of, how can I say that? It's a very selfish act because it's a part of you that disappearing, but like a memory. Like, you know, when you're going to say, like, when I was 6, I did that and I was wearing that, and your parent will come and will say, no, you are wearing a blue dress, not a red dress. They will correct you because they remember. You were just 6. You don't remember correctly. So when people feel sad, they feel sad because they're not going to see that person anymore, for sure. But it's also because a big part of them disappeared. And this interests me. I'm working on something about this subject, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. This was the first love of my life. I was 12. Okay, the Guardians now. I was in New York City. I was shooting a video for a client, and on the day after the shoot, I was taking the subway to meet with my client. And I was waiting for the train, and I felt someone looking in my direction. So I'm holding my camera like that, and I just snap a photo without framing really. This is the photo. And then when I know that I got a shot, I ask him, can I take another one? And he says yes, he motions yes. I come closer and I take the shot. So this is the shot that started the whole series. His name is General. We met on August 21st, 2012 in New York City. A year and a half later, when the series started to exist, I went to find him again. He wouldn't reply to my emails. So I went back to New York and I started like, someone helped me identify the subway, because you can tell that's 42nd Street. So I went and I, like in a movie, and I ran in all the corridors and I asked like uptown, downtown, I'm like, do you know this guy? And they're all from Bangladesh. So they're like, that's General, downtown, go. So I would go, and then I went to his kiosk and I didn't see him, and I was so sad. And someone said, no, General, Wednesday, across. So I go across, and I see him. Oh, I'm great. And he recognized me, and we became friends. Every time I would go to New York, I would spend some time with him. And this is how this series is born. I just start wandering in the streets of cities and looking for mom and pop shops and get their story, if they wanted to give it to me, to share it with me. And the idea was to make them look majestic in their own space, because most of the time people, when they visit the shops, they don't see anything magical about the shop. They just see a messy place. But to me, they're like treasure, how you say treasure hunt? No, treasure chest, yeah? And if you spend some time looking at the pictures, you will find something different every time you look at it. Even a few years later, when I look at this photo, I find stuff that I never seen before, you know? So the idea was to have very large prints and connect the people with the shopkeepers, connect them through art, to make like, at first to attract their eye with a photo that's pretty, and then go deeper in the relationship with the photograph and the person behind the photograph. So we did some life-size installation in several cities. So the prints would go from 10 to maybe 8 to 15 feet long prints, using the windows of shops that have closed. So people would just walk and see someone looking at them. And they would be like, is this for real? And then they would realize it's just a print, but life-size print. So the Birdman would be standing and looking at you on the street. And people were able to listen to the story, because I would record the story, the voice of the person. So we did several installations like that in Philadelphia, in Montreal, Toronto, France. That's a ladybug. I'm just like, this is a letter I received because I was in a park one day and something hit my head and I just did that, and it was a ladybug. And the second I did that, my phone rang and my dad was in tears on the phone, and his best friend Adam, who came to my mom, you know, when my mom passed away, died. So I messaged his wife to send my condolences, and she messaged me that, and she told me the story that happened in the hospital. She said that when the ladybug flew off my hand, she went on her face. So we're like connected. That's why I'm talking about connection. So Frédéric and I were connected by this ladybug, and when her husband passed away, when my mom passed away, there was this ladybug appearance. You can believe in that, you can not believe in that, but like, okay, Metz and I become friends. He would support me all the time, and one day I heard that he was very sick, he almost died. He was in ICU. So I heard that he was fine, he was doing well, he was recovering, so I messaged him, and I decided to name my cactus after him. And he would always ask me about the cactus, and this is the last time I saw, this is the time before the last that I saw him. Last time I saw him was 3 hours before he passed away in the hospital. But he went back and he finally passed away. So every time I get a chance, I like to pay tribute to Metz and to my mom and to the people who were here like at the very beginning, because you always have to remember them. This is Pierre. I'm going to go very fast. I'm showing you Pierre. This is a guy I met on the street, and I decided to help. So I bought him paper. I bought because he draws his drawings are amazing. We start becoming friends. This is in my house in Montreal. He would come to take naps. And he was a bit of a homeless guy, you know, like with mental issues. And I would help him with his creativity. He was very creative, but he didn't have the means to do so. And he would tell me, this is his work, and he would tell me about his stories, and I would sell the prints for him, and he would get the whole money. And he told me about his life story, which is incredible, but I'm just gonna go quick. He was the right hand of John Casablancas from Elite, the fashion model agency, who used to take care of Cindy Crawford, my first love. So this is Pierre. And when he told me that Cindy kissed him once, I told him to go F himself, because she was the love of my life. And that's why I mentioned, I'm going very fast, I'm sorry, because we... Yes, please.
Never forget, you don't have to listen to anyone, because in this world, no one knows anything. The haters, the doubters, they're all drinking champagne in the top deck of the Titanic. And we're the fucking iceberg. Do what you can't.
That's true.
Good advice.
So it's not mine, it's Casey, the guy I met in New York. So if you start thinking like that, nothing is impossible. Because people will look, today I went to this organic store like right across the street, and I befriended the owner, and the guy responsible for the kombucha section was like, oh, this is our best seller. I'm like, I don't want to know about your best seller, which is the one you don't sell at all. He's like, this one. I think I want this one. And I got this one. You know what I mean? This is the way I proceed in life. I'm not interested in what everyone does. Because if you follow everyone, you end up where everyone goes. So it's not fun. Create your own path, and people will follow you, I promise. And you will have fun. And you will be even more creative, because you're going to learn from them, they're going to learn from you. This is the creative process. I met this guy on the street. 2 days later, he was in my shoot. My shoot, I cannot show you now, but if you're interested, I can send you. I did a major photo shoot, fashion photo shoot, and he was in it. He's 77 years old. I met this woman on the street. She's an artist. She sells pottery and paintings, and she was a former hooker and drug addict, hardcore. She lost her family, she lost everything. We became friends. She opened her door to me, and we just hang out together in Toronto. And this guy too, I met on the street, and I did a whole series about him. Same here, she's one of my guardians. And you have inspiration everywhere you go. Right now, I'm sure you can, like you can inspire me, I can inspire you, he can inspire you. But what you need to do is get out of your comfort zone and talk to people, talk to strangers. And the more afraid you are, the better. Do it. Okay, please.
Let me adjust my eyes here.
Okay.
Artists
Go
are
ahead.
some of the most driven,
Can you?
courageous people on the face of the earth. They deal with more day-to-day rejection in 1 year than most people do in a lifetime. Every day, artists face the financial challenge of living a freelance lifestyle. The disrespect of people who think they should get real jobs and their own fear that they'll never work again. Every day, they have to ignore the possibility that the vision they have dedicated their lives to is a pipe dream. With every role, they stretch themselves, emotionally and physically, risking criticism and judgment. With every passing year, many of them watch as the other people their age achieve the predictable milestones of normal life. The car, the family, the house, the nest egg. Why? Because artists are willing to give their entire lives to a moment, to that line, that laugh, that gesture, or that interpretation that will stir the audience's soul. Artists are beings who have tasted life's nectar in that crystal moment when they poured out their creative spirit and touched another's heart. In that instant, they were as close to magic, God and perfection as anyone could ever be. And in their own hearts, they know that to dedicate oneself to the moment is worth 1,000 lifetimes.
Read that every day. Yeah. Even this. You know, this is my last, a year and a half ago, I didn't have any income, like nothing. Nothing. I went to live back to Beirut to spend some time with my dad because he was by himself. So I spent 8 months in Beirut, and I hated the city because, okay, for lots of reasons. It's one of the most expensive cities in the world. And the priority is not in cleaning the city, it's in like partying. And anyway, I was not happy, so I decided to focus on something else. And so I spent some time with my dad because he's a widow, right? And a widower, sorry. and I paid like $1,000 US dollars to participate in a portfolio review in Houston, Texas. And plus the hotel, plus the flight ticket, plus everything, like $2,000 maybe. And I went to Houston, Texas a year ago, and this is where Chris met me and offered me to do the show. This is where my publisher met me and offered me to do a book. This is where I met a guy on day one, and he invited me to his wedding last August, and we became friends. He's a photographer as well. So get out of your comfort zone, even if you don't have the means, like the monetary means, and like find a way. If you really want to do something, find a way and do it, and you will receive like the best payback ever. I promise. You should do that. But you have to get out of your comfort zone. That's it. Thank you. If you didn't like it, don't applaud, please. So I just have something to tell you. I rushed to have my book ready for this opening. The release is September for North America, not before. It's actually released in Europe now. I brought a few copies, but I want to give you a deal, a very good deal. You only have 1, 2, 3, I think 9 books here. 1, 2, 10 books. If you want it right away, you can have it. I can sign it for you. If you want to pre-order it, you will not get it right away. But you can get 15% discount online if you order it. But I will have to ship the whole batch here. But I won't ship if I don't get at least 15 books. No, it's not worth it.
How much is it?
It's 45, I believe. And the preface, I had the great honor to get Edward Bertinsky to write the preface. And there's an open one if you want to look at it. And If you like what you see here, you will love what you read here, because you have all the stories behind the photos told by the people. And it's in English and French, so you can practice French.
I'm glad you didn't make me read in French.
Huh?
I'm glad you didn't make me read in French.
No, the French is at the back. Yeah. So, questions? Yeah.
Is there a reason you went with a religious type thing? Like whether like the background was of idols or
You mean the show?
yes.
Oh, you think it's religious?
Well, temple is in there. The temples.
Oh. Said music is a religion, movies is a religion, and those people spend their days and their lives in those places, and people who believe spend their days like my Muslim friends. They are not all like, how do you say, they don't practice all like I don't know how to say it.
Secular.
You can choose to practice or not. You can choose to believe or not. You can choose to practice and believe. You can choose to practice and not believe. You can choose to believe and not practice. I believe, I don't practice. I used to. So my temple, my urban temple is movie theaters. With my girlfriend, we go at least 5 times a week. Because to me, is like, this is where I get my peace. You know? So those people, they get their peace in those places. You come, you think you find it like chaotic, and you find it like you get dizzy when you go there. But then they get like calmed down when they spend like 16 hours sometimes in there. Charles Neri, who's in the book, if you go on my website and you listen to his story, there's jazz music playing. And the way he speaks is so soothing and so calming. So for some people, it's a therapy to go spend some time there. It's like, I didn't want I didn't meant for it to be religious. This is not my point. To me, a temple is a place where you find peace more. I don't know if it makes sense. You speak French? Can I explain in French?
I did not speak French.
Je peux expliquer en français, ça va être plus clair.
Ça va.
Ça va. Other questions? No?
So you do mean it's spiritual rather than religious?
I think it's you know Baba? Baba is in my show. He's on the wall there. He's the black dude with all the books, and he's a shoe shiner. He's one of my best friends. Like when I met him, he refused to take a photo, and now we're best friends. Like Sam, my girlfriend, came with me to his place, and we cannot leave when we go there. Like we spend the whole day with him. And there's something, you disconnect from the real world when you go to those places. Because they have so many stories. They have so many knowledge they want to share. They have so many, it's like, you disconnect. I don't know how to explain that. You have to experience it, you have to experiment it. Questions? Technical? No?
Well, I have one question,
Yeah.
which is sort of diffuse, and that is, as I was writing here, I was worried about the state of the world, global warming, capitalism,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. And then I come, and you mentioned everything happens for a reason, and you're talking about the religious, and you're talking about these
You want to talk about the apocalypse?
these healing places, these places
Yeah.
of brothership and connection, maybe in a real way with things and these people, and also the respect of those store owners. And yet I'm feeling that there's sort of like cancer of wanting, and your Facebook presentation was slightly repellent to me, so I mean, but it is
Which
inspirational.
Facebook presentation?
Well, you know how you promoted the Facebook thing, which I
I
understand.
didn't promote anything.
Well,
I?
well, that kind of way of instant, I'm
cubes in the back shop of one of my guardians, Joseph of Sepe in Montreal. And I chose this as a metaphor of the disappearance. So the empty spaces are a metaphor of the shops closing. Okay? Yes, they are closing, but there's more and more interest in helping those shops nowadays. I find. In the book, you have 2, 3, 4 stories, I don't remember, of people talking about the regret of not being able to have someone take over their business, and they know that the business is going to, or the business or the craft is going to die with them. Like Mario, the religious sculptor, like Edwige, she's not a bookshop, she, like old magazine, like there's a place in Paris where you could go buy old magazine from the day you were born, like in old, and there's a knowledge behind that, the way like to find old magazine and how to archive them. And she said, my biggest regret was not to have someone to teach that before I retired, you know. But like Amazon, like all those big chains, they're killing everything. I do shop on Amazon sometimes. Yeah, I did today, like yesterday, because I need something right away for the talk to fix that, and no one could help me. But 80% of the time, I go to those places. 85% of the time, I go to those places, and I encourage people. And people, when they read the stories behind that, they go to, and people send me photos through Facebook, through Instagram, of them visiting the places. It's not much, but if everyone does little, we can help. Like, and Portland is a city where gentrification is very important, but Montreal too, Paris too. Paris, they close like very old shops to open cafes. Who cares about cafes? Like seriously, they're not even good cafes. You know, but people want to Instagram the moment in the cafe, it's pretty. You know? Start Instagramming yourself with them. That's why we also did those huge prints for people to pose with them and take selfies with them. You know, and then like be encouraged to go. So we're trying to find, not a cure, but to find